Another thing I would like to talk about are level lights. And level lights are lights that are in your level and have nothing to do with EasySky, but needs to be toggled on and off when it's getting dark or when it's getting daylight again. And the easiest way to show what's going on is by going to the EasySky V2 content and then go to the example map assets. There is a BP lantern in there. We can put it somewhere in the scene, and as you can see, it has some lighting in there and it lights up the scene. However, during daytime we might not want to have these turned on. We only want to turn them on when it's night or when it's getting dark, and there is a way to do that. EasySky has an integrated system to do so. Yeah, I'm pleased with how they stand right now. Well, maybe this is a bit in the trees. There, that's better. Okay, so what we could do is we can go to EasySky and then go to the level light section, and there we have a dynamic light tag, which is now set to dynamic light, which means that every light that is in the scene, so if we put a light in the scene, and the light needs to be stationary or movable, if that one has an actor tag called dynamic light, it will be taken into consideration of the sky. Because what the sky will now do is it will turn off the light when it starts to become bright, and it will turn it on again. In order to make it work, you need to toggle something, because it needs to regenerate which actors it needs to turn on and off. But as you can see, this light has now been turned off. Might be a little bit hard to see, but if I change my daytime to night, it will be turned on again. And it will be turned off again when it's getting bright. And this is great. This works very well for just point lights, spotlights, any type of lights that you have in your scene and that are set to movable or stationary. Can't do static light because static lighting is being baked into a light map and we cannot turn that on or off. However, as you can also see, these are not being turned off yet. And that is partially because they don't have the tag yet. So if we look for tag, well, actually they do have the tag because I included it in the blueprint, but they are not being toggled yet, and that is because blueprints and other objects that contain lights, you need to explicitly say to the skybox that it needs to include these types of objects, because else the system needs to go through all of your scene objects and all of your blueprints and check if there is an light inside of there, and then check if that has the right tag. That will be a lot of overhead for something that's not necessary. So what you should now do is add the BP lantern to the list of actors to check, and then per lantern you can still say, okay, well, this one I actually don't want to include it in the list of objects. And if we then yeah, of course that doesn't work because it already turned this one off. There we go. So right now it will do something with these two, but not with this one in the middle, because we disabled the dynamic light tag for that one. So if we now go through the day, they're off and they're being turned on during the night. Now, as you can see, they're not being turned on at the same point. It's now 17.7 hours, and you can see that only the one over here has been turned on, and the light that we put over here, but this one is still turned off. And that is because there is a range in where it is being toggled, and that range is over here. It is set to 60 minutes. If nighttime starts, and it starts at 1800, it will turn lights on in a random order. So it will take 60 minutes for all of the lights to be turned on. and that is to just give it a little bit of randomization, so not all the lights are being turned on at the same time. You can of course still set this to 1 minute. That would mean that at 1800 hours they're both being turned on. But if this is set to 60, then 1 hour in advance it will start toggling things on and off. Well, actually it's like half an hour in advance and half an hour after it, because it middles it. So that's pretty cool. Let's put this one back to also be included. Dynamic light. And then there we go. So that way you can make sure that some lights are actually being turned on by the system during nighttime. And if you want, you could change the time where they are being toggled. That's in the advanced settings. There is a nighttime start. This is the time where the system thinks nighttime is actually starting. You set it to 15 hours. It will mean that, as we can see here, at 3 o'clock it's already getting dark, and this is where nighttime now starts. Another thing that's good to mention is that the level lights also have the ability to toggle a material parameter, and you can already see that happening here because the light is being toggled, but the emissive material channel is also being lit up. If we look at the material of this lantern, it's called emissive light, so let's open that material. Then we can see that the emissive light has a parameter named emissive. It's a scalar parameter, and this parameter is being driven by the system. The system is actually toggling that one on and off, and the name of that parameter is being set in the level lights properties. It says material emissive parameter tag, and it's now set to emissive. There's also a checkbox that tells the system to update those parameters. So if it now finds a material that has an emissive scalar parameter in the material, it will set that to 1 when it's dark, and it will set it to 0 when it is daytime. So you could make your lanterns actually shine during the night. Now that we're looking at lighting, I think it's good to go to the next chapter, and that will be fog.